What is going on, everyone? It's Ultimate Spy 53 here, and welcome to another episode of Reviewed number 108. And today I'm going to be reviewing the movie Wonder Woman. So what are my thoughts on Wonder Woman? Oh, I loved it. It was awesome. It was great. It was perfect. It was like one of the best out there. And amazing music. I mean, the music was awesome. My sister has the ringtone of the theme for her ringtone. It's badass. That music is awesome. I love that music. It's one of my favorite new superhero themes out there. It's so cool. It has incredible costume. I love that costume. That armor piece that she wears is so cool. I just love it. I mean, look at it. Look how awesome that is. It's awesome. I just love it. I love the design of the armor and everything about it. It kind of felt like a modern day version of the original outfit, which makes sense a lot. That's kind of the point of the costume, is it's supposed to represent a modern day outfit, but also not. And it's because a lot of people, or you know, in the original comics, are like, oh, well, Wonder Woman's she's still like a sex icon. Not really. In this version, the point wasn't to make her a sex icon. The point was to make her a heroine that it can take care of herself and knows a lot of, knows how to be a warrior and all that stuff. She's just amazing. I love that costume. It's so cool, and it's a little different from the usual ones we have. Like you have like a belt, and you have a sword thing, and you have a sword and shield. The gauntlets are awesome, but a different skirt. But overall, it's a really great outfit. I loved it. It was fantastic. It's just interesting because Wonder Woman uses the lasso of truth. I think they call it something different in the movie, but that's the truth more. She uses it more as a weapon than the sword. I don't think that she uses a sword ever. I think she has a sword, but I don't know if she really. I think she uses it once, and that's like to crush areas, because it's used to crush areas and it didn't actually work. But yeah, I just love that lasso. It was awesome. I mean, I think that the amazing part about the character is that she's badass. She's badass. There's a lot of scenes in the movie that I fell in love with because of how awesome they are. Because the way she moves, the way she fights, all that stuff. It's badass. And she's like last, she's like whoosh, like that. It's so cool. I just love it. And it's also pretty awesome. Like the sequences you see in the movie where she does that, and she dives, she crashes things. It's awesome. You see, and she her like roping people and then tripping them up. That is awesome. I just love that. But in all honesty, I think that as a character, whether it be the animated shows, the original '70s show, or this movie, and even her appearance in Batman v Superman, she's gorgeous. She's just downright gorgeous. She's one of the most beautiful women you would see in cinema, like in terms of a superhero. She's just amazing. And so, although I don't know if Captain Marvel compared to to Wonder Woman's beauty, because she's also really hot. But wow, she's a beautiful woman. Really, it's amazing. But I think that in terms of the designs, I love the design. The design for the costume was just incredible. In terms of what she carries, like I said before, the sword and shield. The sword and shield are so amazing. I mean, heck, even young Diana's comments saying, "Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful sword." I mean, not something you usually talk about a sword like, "Oh, the sword's beautiful." Well, it depends on the design. Design can really help with a sword's design in terms of how it looks and stuff. But it definitely felt like Cap's shield. Captain America's shield used from the first one to the one we just recently had, which is Civil War, at least in terms of his appearance, his last appearance, because it's such a unique design. Because it's not only is it's meant to be like looking like it came from the gods. It's like this beautiful design, kind of how Captain America's. Well, not really beautiful, that was just colorful, but on it, it's unique because it's designed beautifully and it's crafted so well, and I think they did a really good job of making it look good. So that was really what I liked about the sword and the shield and everything about the costume or armor in this case. I just thought it was amazing. So the good thing about this movie that I found was it was the first female-led superhero movie, but also the first female-directed superhero movie. Doesn't matter if it's DC, Marvel. Marvel's gonna get theirs in 2019 with Captain Marvel, except I don't know if that's female-directed, but this one was female-led and female-directed. That's very unusual for a superhero movie. When they're making a sequel with the same crew back, they're like, it's amazing that it's coming. It's they finally got around to making a movie centered on a DC character that we've never really gotten a movie from, or even directed by a female, which is very unusual. But I think that's amazing. But in terms of the plot of the movie, it takes place shortly after Batman v Superman, which was not the best movie out there, but it was the only good DC movie out there that I saw. Maybe with the exception of Suicide Squad, which I did watch once. I'll be watching that and then reviewing it next week, because next week I'll be reviewing Suicide Squad because I want to get the two movies. I mean, like, all people hated it, but like, I actually liked it when I went to the theater, went to see it. I liked it, and when you compare that movie to this movie, there's only two good movies out there from the DC movie franchise that I really liked a lot because they were just so good. I just liked them. I enjoyed them. And this one, I thought it was awesome. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't think it's one of the best movies out there, but it's definitely, in terms of, a DC movie, a DC Universe movie, it's pretty damn good. Now, the only thing about the DC Universe, of movies that I'm having a problem with is the timeline. And the timeline's kind of screwed up right now with the movie. That's why it's failing. Like, the DC Universe itself is failing with movies. I just don't think they did a good job with it. They've rushed everything, and they just made it horrible. But I think that if they would have, in terms of where this movie would have fit, if they would have reorganized their timeline before they went and had the timeline they have now, I would love to see, because where would Wonder Woman take, where would that movie fit in if it hadn't been made this last year? Where would it fit in the DC movie universe if they had redone their timeline and made everything way better and all that stuff? Well, first of all, I would do a Batman movie starring Ben Affleck after Man of Steel, because we don't need to have him first in Batman v Superman and then see him later in other movies. So if they would have done a Batman movie after Man of Steel, which would have worked, and then after that had Wonder Woman, that would be good. And of course, kept the scene out where we have the DC timeline continuity with that, with Bruce Wayne, had the letter, all that stuff. That would have been a lot better to have. Not that, I'd also have Wonder Woman have there, which would be great. And then if fans really wanted Aquaman, I wouldn't love not to see that movie. Because I'm not a big fan of the character, but I think that would be interesting if they did that right in the head. It had following that, because I'm only saying this because the Marvel Studios has done such a good job with building their universe, but this particular universe of movies has not done a good job at all because they're failing. But after that, have Cyborg movie, which looks like it could be interesting, because the only Cyborg movie character that I've seen is in Teen Titans, which I haven't finished all of it. I only watched a few episodes of that show, despite it being around for so long. But also, and then have Green Lantern. Now, Green Lantern was not in the new movie, which I didn't see, but he was, weirdly enough, in the intro logo, because if you see I think they changed it. I think they changed it a couple of times throughout the movies they've released so far. Wonder Woman got a brand new intro where they had Batman, and then what was like the original Superman, not the Henry Cavill Superman, but the original comic book Chris Reeve Superman with the much brighter yellow coloring on the S. And then I think they had Wonder Woman followed by that, and then Aquaman, Cyborg, and then Green Lantern, or maybe I think it was it was Aquaman and then Green Lantern, and then I think it was also Cyborg, Green, then the Flash, and they had a Green Lantern there. Now, the reason why they did that was because Green Lantern is actually part of the original Justice League. Like, in all the cartoons he aired in, or any of the comic books, he was always front and center. Even they made that god awful Green Lantern movie, which I only watched once, and I liked it, but I never realized why I shouldn't have watched it. But basically, they have Green Lantern in the promo little animation like, oh, this is Justice League. It has to be London, but he wasn't in the movie because they didn't want to put the movie. Also, the movie might have sucked a little bit, but have him. I get his reboot movie right there, center, and then have Batman vs Superman. But with a better plot, better writing, and cut out the cameos. We don't need the cameos. We've already seen the characters. We don't need cameos again. So cut the cameos out from the movie, and maybe save Superman's death for maybe Man of Steel 2 if they have it. If they do that, because they need to kill Superman that fast. It's just like ridiculous. It's like, only 2 movies in this universe we get his death. Really, maybe save that for later, and then bring him back somehow, like within the movie. Which I don't know how they did it because I don't really care. And then finally after that have Justice League and make it better, make it way better. By better I mean make it as good as the typical Arrowverse crossover, like the Hair vs. Aliens or Crisis on Earth X. That kind of writing, that kind of character development, all that stuff. If you're making a Justice League movie, make it like they would do it with the Arrowverse crossover. Make it like that. Make it a little better than what they did with the one that came out in November, because that was awful. Don't have Superman the mustache digitally removed. Just film it later when he doesn't have to be filming Dimension Impossible 6 at the same time. But yeah, that's what I'll do with the timeline if they would ever to redo it. Of course, they're not going to redo it because they're already making more movies, even though there are a couple of them Bond already. But like, do that. If they were, that's my opinion. Because if I don't want to watch any more DC movies after this, maybe the sequels if they make them, like maybe I might watch Wonder Woman 2, I might watch the Harley Quinn, the DC villain movies. Maybe it really depends on how good they are, and if they don't connect to the other movies. If they're like mainly singular, like this movie, a lot of the movies out there just in their world they don't really do a lot of connecting to other movies. That would be good. Otherwise, that's fine. I would pretty much it. So that's the one really problem I had with timeline so far. It's just kind of and also. They could also add the Flash in there, from the Arrowverse, because, I was hoping they would cast Grant Gustin and Citadel as the characters in the movie, but they didn't do that. It was like, come on. So they would have done that a lot. It would have made more sense that you could kind of push TV shows, and they could just they could finish off a season, and then they can go to movies, and then come back from the movie to another season. I don't know. It would be weird, although now thinking about it would be kind of confusing because I guess it does make sense if they make it separate, because they have to make it separate. They're in completely different realities. The TV shows on the CW have absolutely nothing to do with the movies. They're completely separate entities. They're just like happen to be both on the same comic industry. They're both like part of DC Comics, but they're completely different franchises, I guess you would call it that. And with the Flash movie, I'm making a Flash movie with the Flash TV show already going on. Have a different actor, a better looking suit, and maybe have the origin story more close to the comics. Well, they did it pretty good with the TV show, I think, but like, 'cause I haven't read the comic, but like, make it a slightly different origin story to the TV show, because they want to cover the TV show. And that's pretty much all I have for the timeline stuff. Okay? That's just like, that's all I want to fix. If they were to fix something, I'd probably fix that. If they don't want to deal with the actors on the CW shows, then do that. But as for the movie itself, with the first thing is Themyscira. Wow, it's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's just visually, Themyscira is an amazing place. Okay, I don't know what kind of, I can't even describe what a place would be like. I don't know, maybe Asgard, because with Asgard with Warrior Woman, if they would have the chance to do that, because I feel like Thor and Wonder Woman are very similar, because they're both gods. Although, because Wonder Woman, she technically is a god. Yeah, she's pretty much a god, even though her mother says she's not an Amazon. No, she is an Amazon, but that's just a tiny bit of a script, a line from the script that probably should have been. They're like, oh, you're not an Amazon. Oh wait, yeah you are. It's like, make your mind at movie. Is she an Amazon or is she not an Amazon? Apparently your mother thinks she's not an Amazon, but apparently I don't know what the hell that's from. That's just weird. I don't know what they did that, but that was just like a thing. But yeah, I definitely felt that Themyscira was a really cool place to see, because it was actually brought up, although it looked completely different. Similarly in terms of design, but like they did have it appear in Legends of Tomorrow season 3 episode where Zari, one of the new members of the Legends, she takes Helen of Troy, the most beautiful woman ever, basically, to Themyscira and Wonder Woman, which is a really cool Easter egg for Wonder Woman. So it's like they could potentially put the Wonder Woman character in the TV shows, but who knows? But it was just a cool little nod to that movie, because even though they're completely separate entities, it's just a cool nod to have that, in there, because they're both part of the same, DC universe, so they're not in the same universe at all. But it was just cool to see that. Now, I think that Themyscira is a really cool place. Definitely feels like Asgard, but it's completely different. I don't know. I can't really describe, what Themyscira could be. Maybe some kind of Lord of the Rings, like maybe Rivendell. If I was going to compare Themyscira with a different location, maybe Rivendell, maybe Camp Half-Blood. I don't know. Something like that. But yeah, and yeah, I just feel like that would be a lot better. And I feel like, like I said before with the movie itself, make it singular, make it more singular. Don't involve the scenes with post Dawn of Justice and Bruce Wayne later. Just let it be her story. And it is the story. Most of it is. If you cut those scenes out, beginning and end of it, you'll get that. But like, cut those scenes out, and it'll be fine. Because it did feel like its own movie, and it felt like very, very separate from the other movies because it was a different time period, at least for the majority of the movie. But like, cut other stuff out, it'll make it a lot better and less confusing for those who've never seen any previous DC movie before. Other than that, it's great. I think that in terms of the plot and the story of the movie that it's telling, I think it's a fantastic origin story for the Wonder Woman character. It's a fantastic origin story because it tells you where she came from, how she's made from clay, and just brought and her mother begged just very very life when she did so. And there actually there's a story that she tells Diana to how what happened with God and what they had a war on, and then Ares, who's the god of war. I think basically he wants to wipes everything out, basically chaos, and then he basically dies, and then now he's brought back to life, I guess. Something like that. It goes underworld kind of thing, But yeah, I think that they're really the other thing thing about Ares in terms of what he is as a villain in the movie is that because remember in Batman v Superman, even though as terrible as it was still an important thing in the movie. The very important. They were about to fight Doomsday. We hear her state that she's killed things from other worlds before, because what Superman says, it's not from this world, it's from our world, and she's like, I've killed from things from other worlds before. Now this is kind of an alluding to what she did in Wonder Woman. It was a bit late for that. That's why that's the problem with the movies. When they have Wonder Woman, it's like, oh well, she already did this. What happened? Can we get the story? Here we go. Here's the story. It's like, here's the movie. I don't know that's the story. Here's the movie. They could have done much better to just not have that in there. Like, oh, I have killed things from other worlds before. Ares. There you go. So it's like, a little hard to understand with that kind of thing. But yeah, still. And as for the casting of Wonder Woman, I think I've explained this before, but I just want to elaborate on it. Gal Gadot, that's her name. She's an Azulia. She's a beautiful Azulia actress, and that means I don't know what that means. I guess they have different accents. I don't know, but she's very, very beautiful accent. She does, and I think that she represents she is a beautiful representation of what the Wonder Woman character is, and how amazing Wonder Woman is, and just what she can do. And there's actually a scene in the movie where they enter London, or jolly old London, which is a hideous place, where there's these men who swim with her, and I love gorgeous, and she is gorgeous. I think I've even seen a scene in Justice League. I never saw it, rather than the movie. It's crap. But there was a scene I looked on YouTube. I just kind of scoured the internet. I'm just like, oh, here's a clip from Justice League. Oh, that's cool. I'll look at it. And it was apparently there's just this clip where he's like, whew, gorgeous. I mean, it's not it's not a complete wrong description of what she is, because she's a gorgeous person, but Gal Gadot just plays her with grace, beautifully. She just does a superb job with the acting, with what she actually is in the comics. I have read the comics. I think I've watched a little bit of the cartoon or whatever, but that's pretty much it. And I've seen some conspirations of the TV show. I don't really know much about what it is like that. I know her basic origin story kind of thing. I get it. I know what she is, that kind of thing. But she does a beautiful job at portraying her. She's just fantastic, and she's amazing. So yeah, I really like that. And as for the director, because I mentioned this at the beginning of the review, that Patty Jenkins, who directed it, who's been the director, she just captures the character's beauty, armor. There's also a truth, which is named differently, and it's also like literally hot. It's like it glows hot when it's used, because it's like a scene at the very beginning of the movie when after the Germans attack the beach, we get like Sea Shepherd's taken into for interrogation, and he's like forced to tell the truth, because not only Lasso is hot, but it's also like he tells him to spy. But like that was amazing. Like it just shows you how powerful the Lasso is, and that's like the just like the amazing part of it, about how powerful it is. So yeah, I liked it a lot. And as for the actual setting of the movie, like not from the modern day DC world, like the where the movie takes place, when we actually have the actual movie, the story of the movie, it takes place mainly in the War London, but it also, the beginning, like a good half hour of the movie, almost, it takes place in Obscura, and it's amazing. It's an amazing place. We get like amazing things, where everything's kind of feels like Odin's Fault in a way. In a way, like I said before, Asgard and Themyscira are very similar, because they're both where gods are, so it kind of makes sense, but like it's still an amazing place. That's just like the setting of where it takes place. And it's mainly, the rest of it is World War I, like that's where the action is. But yeah, it's still amazing. I think it's a great setting. And so it's like, it's an interesting thing, because like there's a big thing about her training, and how she becomes Wonder Woman, because this is about how she became Wonder Woman. And so there's this, since her mother's sister is Antiope, who is played by Robin Wright, who is Princess Buttercup and Princess Bride, and she is later killed obviously by the Germans, but like she trains Wonder Woman. She trains Diana to become Wonder Woman, after like after she's training with Diana, and that's just go forward with Mom. So that's basically what happens, and so it's like that's just like she becomes the Wonder Woman character. We don't know everything, but like it's just amazing what they do, and like you can, I guess, if I was to compare Themyscira's training grounds to another training grounds, it would be kind of helpful. Just the one movie I saw. I didn't see the movies anymore like that, but like that's just the one little play that I like describe would be the kind of like with training. But that's just like we show her becoming crazy, and in the trailer we see like locking the stuff in her face with her gauntlets or whatever you call those things, or bracelets or whatever, and it's awesome. That scene, because the music like that, the theme song of the movie plays right when she does stuff, like, and it's like awesome. And then of course the logo appears, and it's awesome. Like that's how she becomes Wonder Woman. That's pretty much it. So yeah. And as for the villain, I've only really talked about this for a couple minutes, but Ares is a villain in the movie who's brilliant. He's a brilliant villain, because whenever you have a movie about a superhero, you have to have a villain. Because, well, also is the point, I think, of a superhero movie. You gotta have a villain. You have to have something to build up the hero comes up against the face of the fights. And so Ares, the god of war, he's played by David Lewis, who was Professor Lupin in the Harry Potter series. One of my favorite characters of Harry Potter, aside from Harry himself and Hermione Granger. He's one of my favorite characters. He just plays him brilliantly. I didn't even know he was in the movie. Like before, it wasn't until I found on the Wikipedia page about the details of the movie before we hadn't even gotten the first trailer. I'm like, David Lewis is in this? That's awesome. This is one of my favorite actors. So it was awesome. He was a great Ares. I have no idea who Ares is really. I know there's several names for the God of War, and one of them is Ares. And he did a great job. His armor was badass. Like the final scene, kind of reminiscent of the scene in Batman v Superman where Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman are fighting Doomsday. Kind of like that final scene in the movie. It was awesome. He had in his armor. He does like the armor just formed out of the fire. He's awesome. He's so cool. He's like chained. He just like goes like swords. He literally looks like a god. Like his armor is awesome, spiky, just so cool. So I think it was a great job performing Ares, who at first we just known as Sir Patrick, but then we find out he's actually Ares in disguise. So there you go. That's one twist. And, that's pretty awesome. And another character that was kind of a villain, but not really. She kind of redeemed herself in the end. She's kind of like she works for the German Captain guy. And she's Dr. Poison, and she's introduced in this movie as this comic character. I think she's like a character from the Wonder Woman comics. I don't know much about her, but like she's this female Spanish chemist who basically makes poisonous gas for the German army, essentially. And she has to wear this face mask to cover her face because she has a facial disfigurement or whatever. She's literally like pops up. Oh, she's just got this burn or whatever, facial disfigurement kind of thing. And I think she's in her 40s or something like that. Yeah, the actress is actually in her 40s, but she's younger, but she's like middle aged. But like, there's one photo in general where she looks surprisingly beautiful for her age, her 40s. She's like this faded photo where she just looks wow. I mean, not as beautiful as Diana, but like, not really surprised. Like, she's attractive in some ways, not like overly attractive, but like, it's just, you don't really notice. It's like, oh, this woman is actually kind of good looking in a way, kind of. I don't know. It's interesting. I like that. So that was something I kind of surprised me when I first saw the photo of her before she gets this big image. She's like, oh, she's actually this young woman who worked for the German army as a chemist and makes poisonous gas, and that's why she's called Dr. Poison. So I know less about it than other people do, but that's pretty much it. And finally, one thing about the movie that I really liked, that was very interesting because it kind of has a team up moment, and basically Wonder Woman teams up with this very small group of reinforcements. They call them reinforcements, and they're led by Steve Trevor, who's played by Chris Pine in this movie. He's a great actor. He was the new Kirk in Star Trek, and he plays Captain Trevor, or Steve Trevor, in this movie, and he leads a group of reinforcements, the members being a Scotsman, a Frenchman, and a Native American. So a lot of amazing diversity in that. It's a good way of showing diversity with a movie like this. You got an Israeli, I guess you would call it that. You got American. You got a Scotsman. You got a Frenchman who kind of sounds Mexican a little bit. I guess the accent. I don't know. I can't really tell. But and you also have a Native American who kind of has the feathers and the dreadlock kind of thing. It's just interesting. It's just really interesting. And that's the photo you see and in Batman vs Superman. That's like the 1918 or whatever photo you have. Because I think 1914. I think it was 1914. I don't know. Because it's in World War I, but like it's the black and white photo you see in that part of the thing. But like it's just very interesting because that's like it goes to show you that the photographs were a thing in the I think the photographing was a thing as far back as the 1800s or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember when they were invented. It was just interesting. But like, to take away from this movie, it's a very good movie. It's one of the best of the DC movies, but only the best. The rest are crap. Maybe Suicide Squad is a good. That's the only one I actually like. Besides, I enjoyed Man of Steel to an extent. It was okay. The rest were not great. Suicide Squad was very interesting to me. I liked it. This movie though was great. I love this movie. I was like, actually, the interesting thing about this movie was I'm like, yay, they're making a Wonder movie. I'm just gonna be happy when I have the Blu-ray. There you go, I have Blu-ray now. It's like, I was waiting, I'm like, I'm going to own this Blu-ray, I'm gonna keep it, I'm gonna love it. It's my mind. It's like, yeah, now I own it. So, yeah, that's really all I can say about Wonder Woman. It's a great movie, especially for a DC fan. It just really makes it brings the character to life in a way we haven't seen her before, especially because it's actually the first live-action appearance in the movie of Wonder Woman. So it's fantastic. It's a fantastic idea, and they did a good job with it. I just wish they would gotten it sooner because, she's already appeared once, so it's like, really. But still, I love the costume, I love the hair, I love the wavy hair, I love the tiara, I love the modern day suit. I like that it doesn't really sexualize her because in other incarnations, you can see like the slit of the breast, which is not in this version. I feel like it's good to have that not there, just because you don't need to have the boob kind of like, you get the idea of there. Like it's a good way to show that it's a more modern take on the character, which I liked a lot. And Gal Gadot does a great performance as the character. She's just fantastic and she's gorgeous, so I like that. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate this a complete 100%. 10 I had no problems with it. The only thing I would leave out with the connections to this universe from the movies in general, like the Batman movies, Superman post stuff, all that stuff that doesn't need to, that I think that it has to do with her adventures. The rest of that just cut out. I'm that's great. I like the plot. It was good. Had Danny Houston in there. He's great. He was in Acting Order Wolverine. He played Stryker. He played a version of Stryker. So it was pretty good. It's a good movie. So anyway, that's all I can say about the movie. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Reviewed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I really do appreciate the support. And if you're to the channel, subscribe for more episodes of this series and other series that I do, as well as other content. And we'll be back next time with another episode, being Suicide Squad. Alright? See ya.